Okay, so let's see if this works. I think I found out the problem last time. OBS automatically decides it wants to use the dock cam for the microphone, and that is a particularly horrible microphone. So I want to do something like this. It doesn't look quite right, but I want to make a lawyer look like a turtle. And I want to have him intimidating, probably somebody cute. So he looks like a evil turtle. Not a derpy turtle, but an evil turtle. People probably don't use derpy anymore. It's like 5-year-old term or something. So intimidating somebody there. So this will probably be the last blue elector for the card game. It's a really bad sketch. I just did it really quickly. Things are a little bad because of the tropical weather. Okay, so let's see. What do we want to do here? We want to get our lines in here. 5.5, 5.5. Well, as long as we're here, get these guys too. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I don't know how much you remember about the card game. The card game is supposed to be sort of about American politics. It is a game where you take a set of cards and you destroy them, physically destroy them during the course of the game. And that's what makes it so much about politics, right? That's what politics are about these days, are completely destroying just about anything worthwhile. Okay, so two. That's bad. You can usually do a pretty good job of eyeballing it, but not when the ruler, the straight edge, is off. This feels wrong here to me. Right, that is wrong. That's 6. It should be fine. Okay. 6 is to here. 6 is to there. That feels even wronger. Let's try this again. 9 to this guy. 9 to this guy. That's let's do that. And we probably need to have some sort of space here. So we want the lawyer being more or less intimidating to a witness. In his turtlesque way. So the witness is sitting here. Usually you have about so much. Let's put a chair here. Chair should be going back because the witness should be going back and looking like it's usually the amount of space that you have. We'll get that out later. That's a little bit more. Okay, so gives us a head about that big. That'll also be about the size of the lawyer's head. So we're going to do the first thing here. Now we want to have a claw-like hand because he's trying to be a tortoise, and tortoises have sort of clawy hands. Maybe a little bit farther forward. Right, we want him to really be getting into her face, like that. And the jacket should look too big, because what the jacket's going to do is it's going to represent the shell for the tortoiseshell. And then we want a really sticky outy neck. Tiny little eyes, looking really pointy. Wants a pointy nose. Have sort of a thin face with lots of flesh under it for the neck. So we want one of these fleshy necks. It's actually looking pretty good. So remember, it's a cartoon. So this is about American politics, remember that. So what we want is a card. I don't think all of mine, maybe even most of my drawings, really done a good job of this, but really expresses something about the constituents of various parties. Right? We want constituents, issues, and candidates. Candidates will be last because they might be the most fluid of the possibilities here is the candidates, because they can change on a dime unless you actually know these people. Even when I lived in DC, I didn't know those kinds of people. So got our dude. See what he's doing. Okay, so why these tortoise lawyers? Well, it's sort of a pun on tort lawyers, obviously. And actually, I was thinking about something Jonathan Haidt said, of all things, which was, the kids are getting fairly litigious as far as, how they resolve conflicts. They don't resolve conflicts themselves. Instead, they've been taught to always resolve through some sort of mediator. And that mediation, we want to have something. This collar is a good place for this tortoise. The edges of a tortoiseshell. Tortoiseshell looks like. Let's draw one over here. sort of looks like this. And along the middle, you have these hexagons. Pointing out here, and they're flat over here. Usually there's like a quarter of one there, and then they come along like that. Right? And then, these are the dark parts, and they have the light parts coming through. And then you have the little plates on the edge here, which are something like this. So this is the pattern we want to put on this guy's suit. But the collar here is perfect for one part of that, right? This next part, right, we're going to try to put these together. So we'll want these to be dark and the gaps to be light. So you see it ends up with a tortoiseshell thing. Let's see his, where should his, okay, so this is the middle. This is the end. So this is where his legs start right there. And the suit would come a little bit below that. So the suit comes down here. So little thing there and both halves there. So this is fine. And then we'll give a little more of a tortoiseshell thing here. So his coat is going to have that characteristic tortoiseshell pattern. Actually, we don't want, maybe we'll look at the colors. I don't think I can color this gray, but let's take the sleeves to be like his arms, so, right, or his legs. So the legs go something like this for your turtle, and there's the bottom part. Oh, yeah, we should do something like that. I don't think I can get the, so maybe we can change the pattern here a little bit. I don't think I can get the, we're dealing with both a suit and trying to make it look like a leg. I don't think we can make it look so much like a leg that it'll have the right patterns here to be ill-fitting leggy thing. Okay, this will be the tie coming down into the middle here. Yeah, we'll just stick with the lines. Doesn't have to be perfect. There's no way for it to be perfect because there's no tortoiseshell design suit out there to be perfect for. Okay, now we'll put a woman here that he's going to intimidate because he's a lawyer. It's part of his job. So I'm going to put these on as a blue elector because the Democratic Party in the United States is sort of owned by the trial lawyers. Maybe not completely owned. There are other owners. And giving her a 18th century school dress, that's no good. That's okay. He looks smaller than her. That's okay. Okay, so this is not a super complicated one. Let's see what we can do here with this guy. So we want this pointy, turtly face. Even want to look at him and sort of think that maybe he's been munching on grass today. Right. He's got these flaps of skin to deal with, and the fake ear, my cartoon ear. Let's have the collar too tight and the suit jacket too loose. That's perfect, actually. Couple of buttons. Let's try to make this as claw-ish as I can without, making it look like something other than a human hand. In contrast, we want her hand to be a little bit lighter. Let's see, it's not really the point though, so we'll put that in here. So he's got this ill-fitting tortoise suit. And we will draw his back like that. Nice thing about something that you're filling in, it doesn't have to be that great. Okay, and lines here representing the inside of the tortoise. Horizontal lines there. Anyways, the Tortoiseshell Lawyers here, the tort lawyers, are probably what I should have been focusing on, this sort of gag rather than the other ones. It's perfectly fine for the green and the yellow to have the weird ass stuff being the jokes, the electors. It's actually people like this that the 1890s schoolmarm is probably not the right, or governess look is probably not the right look for this. But we do as we do we not? Okay, I thought I had a thinner line here, so she's going to need some thinner lines. You can have thick lines because he's supposed to stand out and he's supposed to be intimidating like fact that she's not supposed to be intimidating, so we don't want as thick lines. She's supposed to be sympathetic, so let's not make her as... annoying looking. Let's see, what do I have for thicker ones? Let's fill in here. So this card is probably going to be one of the more powerful cards in the game, I'm thinking. So it might not give a lot of elector points, but I was thinking it would have two possible things. I have to look at my notes for the powers. One power would be to basically sue to remove an issue. All right, and that would, I think that would be one that would take this card out of the game, and probably an issue from one of your opponent's issue piles out of the game. It's not really a tort lawyer, but it is, well, I mean, it's an injunction, right? So we'll have an injunction power for this guy. And then the other power will be the suit power, where he gets to sue you. And when he sues you, what happens? What should happen is something like how should I say this? When the tortoise lawyer sues you, you get a you and the tortoise lawyer. It's a lawsuit, right? So you and the guy who do the tortoise lawyer both turn over a card, and each get to keep that card. So he sues you on his turn. You both turn over a card, and from your own decks. I think that's important, from your own decks. I used to have a... Oh, there it is. And what's going to happen with that? Well, you then compare the two card values. So these cards have values for how much it's worth. So you put down one of these cards, and you can get a so each card is worth some amount of points. Those points are used to pick up new cards, to yeah, basically to pick up new cards. So like an elector like this would get points for acquiring candidates and issues, right? So those points will you add up the total number of points for this round, and you can buy some of the cards in the center. What happens with the Tortoise Lawyer is that he will pull open both, or you'll have both of these cards. Both of these cards will turn over, one from you, one from him. If his number is larger than yours, then the Tortoise Lawyer will get that card. Right, so that's the second thing we get from this card. The first one was he gets to basically remove a card from play. That would also give that card a unhappy face. So when those cards get 3 unhappy faces, the idea is they will burn. You'll burn the card, and then you don't have to, and then the card is out of the game, right? So not so much out of the game. It's out of the game. So it's not just out of play. It's literally burnt or cut or destroyed in some manner, so that the next time you play the game, it won't be available. Possibly for some cards, when you give them an unhappy face, they either get weaker or stronger. I think probably the best thing to do is to make them stronger each time if I can, right? Their unhappiness fuels politics and increases their value to the politician up until the point where they're so upset with everything that they no longer feel like voting, at which point they're out of the game, right? But you have various rounds before that happens. So I'm going to say this is probably going to be one of the most powerful cards in the game, these Tort Lawyers. When I was thinking about doing this in the summer of 2019 with the older style, I was going to have a Donald Trump card. Now he's out of politics, so it's okay. Don't need to keep him around, but I was going to give him his powers from the 2016 primaries, which is basically he was able to sort of isolate and define his opposition, basically by unwarranted superficial insults, kind of stupid superficial insults, right? So probably should have had something in the back, but I didn't have a lot of time to think about this one. It's okay. Nobody's ever going to pay me for my card game, so hell, nobody's even going to watch me draw it, right? Are you the first one to hear that? If you're the first one to hear that, leave it in the comments. If you're not, if there's nothing in the comments, then no one else has listened as far as this. Which won't be surprising. Right? I'm not like the world's greatest artist. Not the world's most charismatic fellow. Oh, I forgot the... Don't want to do that with the detail pen. Might want to do this. Let's... A little bit of a pattern here will be good, even if it's not a great pattern. Don't need to put in all the wood, just make it look like it's made of wood. Alright, so you can see this is running out of stuff. What is this, 30%? 40%? Had another one sitting in my bag. Let's just try what we can do to make it look a little bit better, which is probably going to make it worse, but that's okay. See that smudge that didn't need to be there? Can't even see my bag of pens. It's just this one I've been using. Oh well. So, I feel sorry for tort lawyers. They're such rotten. They do such rotten things, but in general, lawyers are such good people, you know. I mean, when I was taking care of my mother's estate, my sister got all freaky about the lawyer, but it was basically because she was acting like an idiot. I don't think it was about money. I think she just wanted people to listen to her, but she kept making things go on and then started complaining about, the lawyer running up the bill. But it was because each time she had a complaint, we asked her to do something and she wouldn't do it, that the bill kept going up, right? She said, I I think this is worth this much. We said, okay, well, we've got an estimate for it. We're willing to work with you. Just show us that you've got some reason to do that other than just, that's what popped into your head. She didn't have that, so we had issues. Oh well. Some things are absolutely true. And one of them is sell the house. Right? Sell the house, don't try to help other people. I don't even know why she said she wanted the house. Because afterwards she said how much she hates the town. Okay, for some reason I didn't want a wood grain earlier, now I'm putting a wood grain in. I do like wood grains, to be honest. So anyways, Tort Lawyers are really powerful. The only other card that I've invented that was anywhere near as powerful was going to be that Donald Trump card, which would have the ability to give it some buttons, which would have had the ability to destroy other candidate cards. You have to discard him for the round to do that, but for the game, basically. So you use him once per game. Then if you use him wrong, I was thinking that people would love to have him as a target, actually, because, he's Donald Trump. And so I didn't, even though he was such a powerful card, I think he'd have ended up disappearing rather quickly, if you know what I mean. People would target that card. I was going to call him Ronald Crump, so have him be Donald Trump with Ronald Reagan's hair. Try to draw it like a Crump drawing, but that one's gone. The end. And this one's gone. So that is about what I can do with this. It's a pretty good looking drawing on the screen, isn't it? Okay, no, not really. If I could get that gray a little bit better, that would work. But I didn't. Let's see what else. I mean, it has the main idea, right? It's got the main idea. There needs to be something in the back, but I didn't really have time to think of something that went in the back, and now it's too late. But I love the idea. And it may be simpler like this is better for the actual game, since this is only going to be like 2 inches by 1.5 inches, right? 5 centimeters by 3 centimeters, something like that. So it's going to be tiny on the card. Okay, well, that's what I've got today. If you have any suggestions, put them in the comments. But you haven't listened to this, so don't. So if you haven't listened to this far, then don't put any suggestions.